get in. So let's go ahead and get started. I wanted to thank everybody. Let me get rid of this little tag here. Okay. We were going to be live streaming, but our guy, Francisco Williams, unfortunately, he was setting up this morning, but his wife ended up in the hospital last night, or at least the emergency room. She's okay, thank God. But we've had to go to the old-fashioned way. So those that are at the event, welcome, and I hope the coffee has gotten there and the donuts at least, and you can pass out some cards. But welcome to our inaugural 23 broker forum, the Greater LA chapter. We really want to encourage people from wherever you are to present your listings, because a lot of the good buyers do come out of California. So we're going to talk to some people that are on the call about their listings, which are out of state. And but let me introduce myself. I'm the immediate past president of the chapter, and I'm also the sponsorship chair this year. But Linda Lee is now our new president. We're in good hands with her. Francisco Williams, I took the presidency from Francisco. He was the one that passed me the baton. We're the moderators today. Again, Francisco had an emergency, cannot be here. So I will do this solo and do my best that I can. So welcome everybody. And let's thank the sponsors, because without them, we couldn't do this. CoStar has been our platinum sponsor, I think, for at least 5 years. They really support us, and they've got wonderful data. They're amazing. And those of us, we all know how good their data is. We don't like their bill, but we like their data. So thank you, CoStar. We've got some gold sponsors. Danny Raffle, a great asset manager with offices in Southern California and the Las Vegas market. He is also the longtime treasurer of the chapter. So we thank Danny, and also 10X. I've gotten a chance to use them. I'm just blown away at their upgraded system. It's a great way to find good deals. I encourage you, if you got any aggressive buyers and bottom feeders, so to speak, go to 10X. But I say that it's not just about, desperate sellers. That platform really helps you get listings, and it really supercharges your marketing program. I would say explore that a lot more closely than you would think. And they're one of our gold sponsors with Danny Raffles' company, RPM. Let's go on. We've got a bunch of silver sponsors. In fact, there's more than that, and I apologize to those sponsors that are not shown here, because we're, at the beginning of the year, we're reaching out to everybody, collecting money, and so we'll get your logo and get you a little press. But there's EXP Commercial, which I'm now at EXP Commercial. What a great company. And they just had their forecast for the year, nationwide national forecast, and CCIM is going to duplicate the same speaker in Casey Conway. Those of you that know Casey, he is amazing. And Casey will be speaking at an upcoming event for the Greater LA chapter, co-sponsored with SoCal CCIM and the Crew LA, the Commercial Real Estate Women's Group. So 3 powerful groups getting together at the Marriott in Long Beach coming up on the 24th. What a great in-person networking event. We're back to in-person on these events, and we're going to live stream like this. So technology is amazing. Even if we did have a snafu today, I'm still blown away with technology. So let's move on. we're going to highlight one of our sponsors, and I don't know whether Sarah is on the call today, or a representative from Comstack, but I will tell you, I've got their socks on right now. That's how much I love Comstack. I'm a paid spokesman. I want to give you a disclaimer. They gave me a free pair of socks, and they're amazing. If you don't know about Comstack, if you ever need comps, you just feed it some of your comps and you get the whole service for free. Really want to explore that, and they're a great sponsor of ours. So they sponsored our charity golf tournament, as did most of the sponsors. Our first annual charity golf tournament was last year at Calabasas Country Club in June. We're moved it to May 1st this year. So look forward to that networking and that great fundraiser. For the main sponsor or charity there was Make-A-Wish. What a great cause. And some other children's charities like Dance for Ecuador. So, and Viet Love. Let's go to all those were children's focus charities that we all, as a group, as a community, we all made those donations, and that was wonderful. We're going to do it again this year, and we're going to be co-hosting that with Crew LA. One of the past presidents, Lexi Moriarty, is now on our board as the membership chair. And if you're not a member, that's a great commercial to become a member. It's cheap, especially if you're a member of another chapter. I think you only pay like $25. But even if you're not a member of that any other chapter, you can be a member of ours for $125. A lot of benefits, too numerous to name. So we're going to get right into the listings, and I know who we have on the first presentation. A good friend of mine from Arizona, Mr. Neil Sherman. One of the biggest deals I ever did was in Tucson, Arizona, with Neil when we were both together at a previous company. So without further ado, let me introduce Neil Sherman. Let me give everybody some instructions again on how to present. And there's a reason Neil is going first, because he knows how to do this. Got to keep it tight. You got about 3 minutes. You really want to tell people the motivation, and then you want to finish with the commission, because a lot of brokers, in fact, all brokers, do not work unless you pay them a commission. Funny thing. And so tell them what's not on the slide and why they would want to have their client look at this deal and buy it. So Neil, you're on.
Sorry, I was muted. Jeff, thank you very much. And we have known each other a long time. Thanks for inviting me to this. I think I missed one or two, but I do try to make them. I don't need 9 minutes, so I just want to say very quickly that everybody on this call and those people who aren't on the call probably have a client that either owns a property, commercial property in Arizona, or will at some point. And if you don't know that, it doesn't mean that they don't. It probably just means that you never discuss it with them. If you want to generate more revenue, more GCI in 2023, one of the things you can try is ask people when you talk to them where else they own properties. And if anyone says Phoenix or Scottsdale or anywhere in Arizona, I'd like to be a resource for you. And to sweeten the pot, so to speak, for just nothing more than a name and phone number, you'll get 25%. However, if you're more active, and that does not mean you have to fly here or drive here, we'll do all the work. But if you're more active in terms of, referring the person over and helping a little bit, on the phone anyway, then you get your 50%. And like I said, you don't ever have to fly here. You don't ever have to drive here. We'll do all the work and you'll still get paid. And since our deals are sales versus leases, at least most of them anyway, you get paid directly from the title company. If they won't pay an out-of-state company, which sometimes happens, out-of-state broker, which sometimes happens, we'll pay you. So don't worry, one way or the other, you're going to get paid. And really quickly, I started my stopwatch here. Really quickly, I will tell you that back in the day, and I've been doing this since the 80s, you know, Southern California owners would sell a fourplex or an eightplex, 10, 12 units, what have you, and they could buy 40 or 50 units in Phoenix for cash. And with the excess funds, they could buy a $500,000 house for cash. And if they still own that building, it's probably worth 3 or 4 times what they paid for it. And if they still own that house, it's no longer a $500,000 house. It's probably $1.5 million. But those days are probably gone, at least for now. The differential in cap rates has shrunk. And with cap rate compressions, the difference between Southern Cal and Phoenix isn't 200 or 300 basis points anymore. It's more like 100 basis points, maybe 150 basis points. So again, you want to make some extra money, keep Phoenix and Arizona in mind. And we'd like to be a trusted advisor for you, and we'll do all the work. I'm almost at 3 minutes, so let's start with Palm Valley. I love this deal. Forget the fact that it's $25 a foot for now. There's room in this price. The owner owns it free and clear. I told him yesterday, actually, that I was going to be presenting this, and he said his last words were, "Get that sold for me." He owns a local brewery, a well-known brewery. I'm not going to mention it, that also serves food. He's all over the state. He was going to put one of his production facilities, brew facilities, in this location, plus a restaurant with land left over for maybe another retail use or two, and decided at the last minute, actually after he bought it and after he was into the city for zoning and entitlements and so on, decided to sell it and buy something else. So he's up the road a couple of miles under contract on another site and is going to sell this. It's a pad, as in planned area development. It's in Palm Valley Crossing, which is a hot area. Maybe not quite as hot yet on the southern side, the south side of the I-10, as you could see in the inset there, as the north side. But the north side is being picked over and will be fully picked over probably in the next 12 months, which is going to leave the south side of the 10 if you want to be in Palm Valley Crossing. It's a great deal. You know, your buyer should be interested in, or your developer, whatever the case might be, should be interested in building either self-storage, RV and boat storage, retail. There's all kinds of uses. You don't have to be in the brew pub business. And if you send me an email and request the flyer, this is a slide, but if you request the full flyer, there's a link on there that you can click on, and it'll take you to the City of Goodyear uses. I can't remember what the document's called, but all of the uses that are allowed, that are permitted on this pad, planned area development pad, are outlined in that document, and that is a hyperlink on the flyer. So hit me up with an email if you want that. DJ, can we go to the next slide? This is not my listing, it's my nephew's. So you can if you direct your interest to me by email or phone, I might put you in touch with Zachary, my nephew. We've lowered the price twice. We started at 2.5 million, then to 2.3, now at 2 million. And I'll tell you that this thing's going to sell probably between 1.7 million and 1.850 million, somewhere in there. The owner and his wife, they don't mind me telling you this, otherwise I wouldn't tell you this. They're going through a divorce. They're going to split the baby, so to speak. Right now, if you look at those cars there, you know, it was empty, but because we hadn't sold it yet, he moved some of his crew over there to continue working on cars. We found him a new facility a few miles away a couple of years ago, and his specialty is German automotive, BMWs, Mercedes, Porsche, you name it, and he's got a thriving business. But because this wasn't sold and it's got 4 full bays in it, he moved some of his crew over here to take some of the overflow. You don't have to be in your client does not have to be in the automotive business. I can also get you the approved uses from the city of Gilbert, town of Gilbert, I think it is, for this site, but it includes restaurant, Also brewery, believe it or not. That's how we got the other listing, by the way. We showed it to that guy and he said, I'm not interested, but why don't you sell my property? So that's how we got that first listing. But there's a lot of uses here that don't have to do anything, that don't have anything to do with automotive. Automotive is ideal because it's already built out for that. It's a great intersection, highly trafficked intersection, killer location in Gilbert, and you've got a very motivated seller, you know, short of financing it for you, which, by the way, we had an offer to finance it, but they only wanted to put 10% down. If they had come in with 25 or 30, you probably would finance it for a couple of years, but nothing long-term. So keep that in mind. I think that's all on this one. Next slide. And I'm at 7.5 minutes. I'm going to speed through this one. So this one just came back on the market. We were under contract. This was under contract twice. The first time for a year, I had nothing to do with that. The second time for the last year, and I did have everything to do with that. And we were supposed to close this on the 10th, 8 days ago. Literally at the 11th hour, the buyer flaked. Technically still under contract, but he's got a very, very short fuse and or short patience of the seller. Seller's about to cancel the escrow and keep $175,000 of his earnest money, which was already released. This is a great location, namely because the city of Peoria will bend over backwards to accommodate the right project. And please understand, I said the right project. They have no problem with multifamily. They'd love to see multifamily, but it has to be part of a mixed-use project that also includes retail. They understand it's probably not going to have office, except maybe medical office, but they do want to see some retail, some service retail. You could probably go 3-4 stories on the apartments. And just so you know, if you look at that map on the right side, we can add those parcels. I think we could add all or most of those parcels to the north, and possibly those parcels not to the south directly, but to the southeast. There's a couple of more parcels. We could potentially get a client of yours up to about 9 3/4 acres, but right now I'm offering 7.48 acres. So if you're interested in any of those, I have more information. Ideally, one of these should be bought by developers, except for 797 West Guadalupe. That could be just about anybody, an owner user. So that's it. Thanks, DJ, and thanks, Jeff.
Thanks, Neil. That was a great series of presentations, and yeah, Neil is really knowledgeable and a great friend. So thanks again, Neil. All right, let's go on to Rubik, and not immediate, but definitely a past president of the Greater LA chapter of CCIM, and this guy is very connected with the cities and communities and politicians and land and all kinds of stuff. So we're gonna hear from Rubik on his project. Go ahead, Rubik.
Jeff, I
You're
think
muted.
Rubik is in the office, but I'm not sure if his.
Oh, that's right. And again, those of you that are in the office or in the networking room, and we had a technical difficulty again for those that joined late. Francisco was setting up, but it's unfortunate his wife ended up in the emergency room last night, and so she's fine, thank God. And anyways, that's why we are not streaming live. We will next month. Amazing technology. We rehearsed, we were all ready to go, but hey, it happened. So you can see the slide here and reach out to Rubik. It obviously looks like we've got a development site for apartment building with an ADU, and so and a bit of conversion. Oh, there we go.
Can you hear us okay?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, then we don't have to mute.
Yeah, and
Okay.
we don't need the microphone either because it's just coming through there.
Oh, okay, great. Well,
All right.
you want to be in front of the camera real quick so that we can see you on the screen.
Oh, we are live. All right, now we are streaming to the live group. We fixed our technical difficulties, and Rubik, you're live to present your your slide on a property on West Fountain Avenue in Los Angeles.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, everyone. This property is in Hollywood, East Hollywood. It's right by Kaiser Permanente's hospital, Children's Hospital, Presbyterian Hospital. It's a single lot. Based on the zoning, you can tear it down and develop 16 units using the city's incentives, density bonus programs. In addition, you can put a rec room, ADU unit, they allowed now. Currently, it's a duplex, full leased, $6,300 a month. Entitlements would take about 2 years, and then you can demo it and develop it into 16 units. Projected rents are $4 a square foot, plus recommended to have singles and one bedroom den, not required at all to have 2 bedrooms in the area. During the leasing of the duplex, we had about 75 interested parties to rent 1 bedroom or singles. Currently, the duplex is a 3-bedroom, 1-bath house. And a single, we had 50 people wanted the single. So the demand is extremely high for the area. And also Kaiser Permanente and Presbyterian are expanding their hospitals in the next 5 to 10 years by 1 million square feet. So it's a very hot area. So that's the first property. Asking price is $1.8 million. There's flexibility. So it comes out to about $100,000 per unit. City fees are running about $25,000 to $28,000 per unit. And this is going to be a simple 4 stories over 1 level subterranean parking. Very efficient, very cost-effective design. Nothing special about it. So that's the first property. Let's go to the second one. Or any questions, anybody? Okay, West Valley Boulevard. This is in Alhambra. This is about a couple of blocks from the 710 freeway off-ramp on Valley Boulevard, right on the route to Fremont, Atlantic Boulevard. There's major developments, major retail. It's a corner lot, about 18,000 square feet with a signalized intersection with the alley in the rear. Currently, the property owner had bought it to develop a car wash, got into some discussions or opposition due to noise of the equipment on the car wash, so couldn't develop it. We advised him to use the right approach, he didn't. So anyway, no car wash coming. Currently, it has 2 tenants. They're both restaurants, and it can be developed into a fast food with a drive-through. That's the beauty of this property. Buy it, entitle it for a drive-through corporate, and then basically the tenants are there for the time being. One of the tenants is asking for a 5-year lease. It will take about 3 years or so, maybe 4, to pull a permit, actual permit to build. Cities are slow these days. Ratkovich, about 0.6 miles away on Fremont, is proposing a major addition to his existing projects, the offices, retail, and 760 apartments. So literally 0.6 miles away, it's a major development coming. Let's go to any questions on this one. Let's go to the next property. Go ahead.
Well, I was just gonna say those Rubik are great covered land plays. You've got a little cash flow while you're entitling, and Wayne Rakovich, I mean, man, if he's developing something in that neighborhood, you know that's a good property. So wow, I like both of those development deals. Let's go on to the next one.
Thank you. The third property is an office building in Pasadena. The ownership has been trying to sell it. They're Asian, out of the country, and they kept marketing it as an office building. We're marketing it as an office building, existing future development Based on the city of Pasadena zoning development standards, you can develop it into 155 units. This is the Hastings, Upper Hastings Ranch area, city of Pasadena, 0.6 miles from the Gold Line at the Madre exit, Foothill Boulevard. There's major retail, multifamily apartments right there. This is a great location. The advantage with the property, it has 575 feet of frontage by 160, 170 feet deep. So our consultant has recommended to split the property into 4 or 5 parcels. In that fashion, you can develop it to a higher square feet, higher FAR, we call it, and 3 stories. Based on the design standards of the city of Pasadena, they call it City of Gardens style standards, where all units in the project have a view of the central courtyard. If you develop it as a whole property, one shot, you can do a 2-story by design. If you split it into 4 or 5, you can get higher square feet and do smaller project, 30, 40 units. Currently, the project is 92% leased. 25 out of 26 tenants have termination clauses in their leases. So anybody wants it for 4 or 5 years as a office use until they entitle it, they have a nice cash flow to take it. It also is right across the street from the GM Motors Design Center that recently they moved into the facility across the street, and properties after it got leased across the street sold. So this is a great location with the right property to develop it into. Rents in the area running on the multifamilies by the train station, about $350 a square foot and higher. 2 additional projects are proposed right by the metro station. One by the Panda ownership, 276 units. This is 0.6 miles away, so it's a nicer residential setting. Adjacent are office building and a condo complex, the 2 neighbors. So as you develop it into 4 or 5 different projects, gives you flexibility and ease of development. You don't have to get like $100 million construction loan. You can do much smaller project, condos, apartments, townhomes. And even with the zone change, you can do assisted living complex. So there's a variety of uses you can do it. Takes about 4 to 5 years to entitle the property in city of Pasadena. With the right buyer, we can give them the consultant for entitlement and the city attorney and political lobbies to get it through. Pasadena, we call it the Republic of Pasadena because everything takes a little bit longer and the community has a lot of input. So that's why we have a team of consultants to advise the developer. We have a lot of interest on this property. So any questions, I would appreciate it. Asking price is $15 million. There is some flexibility in the pricing. And as far as the commission buy side, we're offering 1%, but again, depending on the price, we can work with that. Any questions?
Let me jump in here, Rubik, and we're not going to go with a lot of questions today. Just for time, you hit a lot of the good stuff. In fact, all of it. And but I'm going to give a couple of commercials here. One is that we have a new sponsor that wasn't on there, and it's called on our slide, Brickworks. They're going to be sponsoring our economic forecast, which is next week in Long Beach. And Rubik, I know you know Brickworks, but they do an amazing job at preliminary looks at projects and what you can entitle. That's another amazing new data company that's coming out. And so I would encourage anybody looking at highest and best use in land development to talk to Brickworks. They can give you a quick synopsis before you spend 10 grand on a consultant of what you can do on the sites that you're looking at. So two
Appreciate it.
commercials. Yeah, two commercials. One is with come to our economic forecast again and hear our speaker. It's going to be amazing. Casey Conway's a very famous speaker. I just heard him speak and Tuesday and yesterday, and gosh, he's going to talk about all the new infrastructure coming into LA because of the Olympics that we're having in 28. He's a specialist on logistics and ports. It's going to be a really rewarding chance to network with Crew LA and the CCIM Greater LA chapters and the Southern California chapter. We're all getting together to put this on. So it should be a good crowd of people and really exciting as we get back into person after COVID. Let's thank you, Rubik. And now Rubik is live. So technology is working and we're going to be able to shake hands and Zoom. So let's
Thank you.
do that
I
in
am
person.
registered for the Economic Forum. Thank you.
Thank you, Rubik. All right, let's go on to Mr. Greg Offsay. And I just saw a big closing from you, Greg, on a site that you had presented. By chance, did that Thousand Oaks $20 million deal, did the buyer come from the broker forum?
Unfortunately, it did not, but I will say that I did have a handful of great conversations as a result of presenting in the broker forum. And we were able to move that one successfully at the end of the year. And I do appreciate the interest from the parties that participate here. And I also had some great conversations with the guys at 10X as a result of their presentation a few months ago, and trying to get some of my clients to consider their platform. So I appreciate you bringing them out as sponsors and letting them present, and all the information we get on these forums is really wonderful.
Well, speaking of 10X, they're going to be one of the major sponsors at the economic forecast again. And, hitting on 10X again as our sponsor, they are a wonderful listing tool. I know you're asking me, well, what do you mean a listing tool? I'm not going to give their pitch today, but check out 10X. Go ahead, Greg. Tell us about Victory Boulevard in Burbank.
Yeah, so I've got 3 properties that I'll present on Victory Boulevard. These 3, and then another one that I'm presenting on Hollywood Boulevard, are a portion of the properties owned by a trust that we're working with an administrator of the trust, a couple of co-trustees. It's the family, for those who are local to the LA area, Burbank or Hollywood, it's the family that has owned and operated the Supply Sergeant stores. They are an Army Navy surplus store. They have a location on Victory, which you'll see in a slide or two, a location on Hollywood, which you'll see, and then we're also preparing to come out to market with some properties in Bakersfield, where they have a store and some storage up there. So maybe next month we'll be presenting the Bakersfield properties as well. Unfortunately, the 3 properties that they own on Victory Boulevard are not entirely contiguous, so it's not immediately a great development play. There are 2 properties in between this one and then the other 2 that I'll show you. We are looking at selling them as a package, all 3 together, or considering selling them individually. We've gotten a lot of individual interest in this property, 409 through 411 North Victory. It's a 4,400 square foot, 2-unit property. The one unit that you see with the black and red build out used to be a vape store and a cell phone repair store. The inline space is a raw shell space that the Supply Sergeant is using currently as storage. It doesn't have any drop ceilings. It's pretty well open and exposed. It does have a roll-up door in the back. We're asking $2.4 million for this building. It sits right on the alleyway, one parcel off the intersection of Victory and Magnolia. The property that's right on the corner there is a small strip center with a parking lot out in front of it. So there is direct visibility from the intersection to this property. You've got the blade sign on top of the building. So you do have direct visibility, line of sight to the intersection of Magnolia and Victory from this property. There's parking in the rear, about 6 tandem spaces in the rear of this one. As I said, we're asking 2.4 million for this one on its own. And the buy-side fee on all of these is 2.25%. We can go on to the next slide. There we go. This is 419 North Victory. It's a small 1,250 square foot building currently being used as the corporate office for the company that owns and operates the Supply Sergeant stores. It's the little white building directly adjacent the Supply Sergeant store. You might think that the property with the camo and the tank parked in front of it also belongs to my clients, but it does not. They are renting from their neighbor who owns the property adjacent this one. And then there's one other separate owner in between 409 and this property. Again, we have broken the ice, but not sure if those property owners will sell. So we're not really looking at this as an assemblage, but it's a possibility. This is 1,250 square feet. It has some parking in the rear, actually a gated parking area in the rear. We're asking $685,000 for this property on its own. We're getting a ton of interest from small owner users. We already have cash offers, waiting to see if we get any offers for people to buy multiple properties, but we're going to move on these things pretty quickly. We can move on to the next one. This is 501 through 507 North Victory. It's immediately adjacent 419. This is the Supply Sergeant retail store. They are currently operating. The ownership does intend to close down the retail business and facilities at or near closing, depending upon timing. This one is about 6,500. No, I'm sorry, 1 second, because I only have the land size there. This is 9,500 square feet of building. We are on 11,588 square feet of land, parking in the rear. It does have a couple roll-up doors in the back for loading purposes. It is it's split up into a few different sections of the store. You could potentially buy this and turn it into multi-tenant retail as an investment. It probably best suits an owner user. We're asking $3,961,500 for all three together. It's a little over 7 million. There is some flexibility, but as I said, this is a trust sale. The trustees do have to justify all sales based on market values, market criteria. They reserve the right to get court approval. It's not a probate. It doesn't have to go through court confirmation or an auction, but it might go through the court confirmation process just so that the trustees can get the approval and confirmation of the court on the sale. Not a guarantee, but likely knowing the clients. So those are the three properties in Burbank. We can move on to probably Hollywood will be next.
Is Hollywood also the same seller or trustee?
Yes, it is. Hollywood's also part of the estate. So this is a 2-unit property, 9,260 square feet, split in half. The unit on the right in the image with the black storefront used to be, up until a couple weeks ago, a tenant, a custom t-shirt shop that had been very behind in rent. And rather than going through the UD process, they made an agreement with them and they moved out. So that's now vacant. The unit on the left is the Supply Sergeant store. It is not a historic building. The sign on top is widely recognizable. It's been in movies, countless movies, most recently in the movie Hollywoodland. It's again, owner, user, operator. They will be shutting down the store. We're asking $5,889,000 for this property. Comes out to about $636 a square foot. There's a pedestrian alley behind the property that goes out to the west to Las Palmas. This is a couple blocks east of Highland on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. The ownership does own that pedestrian alley and controls access. There are no recorded easements. The neighboring property owners have used that alley for trash disposal purposes and loading. We're still working out the logistics of that. This property is in the city of LA. For those who are familiar with the recent measure that passed, Measure ULA, that will affect the sale of any property in the city of Los Angeles above $5 million if it closes after March 31st. There will be a 4% transfer tax imposed on any sale between 5 and 10 million, and a 5.5% transfer tax on anything above 10 million. If we can move this before March 31st, there may be a little bit of leeway in the pricing because of the savings on that transfer tax. Again, this is part of the trust, 2.25% co-op fee, and we're taking offers.
Well, those are all good, great listings, Greg. No wonder you're closing $20 million deals. I mean, I can see your technical abilities. How long ago did you get your CCIM?
It's been 7 years.
Yeah, it really pays off. And on that note, you mentioned military a couple of times there. For your military family members and friends, we've got a scholarship, a foundation of people that are donating to the military guys that are coming back and wanting to get into real estate. We're giving them, I just hired the guy that got the first $20,000 scholarship for all his core classes, food, travel, everything, hotels, and they've earned it. He was a first lieutenant in the infantry, went to did he go to West Point? I forget where. I mean, the highest army, I think, is that West Point, I guess, right?
Mhm.
So he's a real smart guy, and he's joining my team to sell medical office buildings. But make sure we pass the word that there's there's scholarships for veterans. And so, anyways, thank you very
Excellent.
much, Greg. And
Yeah, I've got a couple more on here as well. These are
okay,
just the ones from the trust.
perfect.
I can't remember if I presented this last time or not. This is a single tenant net lease Goodwill operation in Tallahassee, Florida. A local client of ours owns this investment. We're on the market at $1.25 million. It's a 5.49 cap rate. There's a little less than 5 years remaining on the lease, plus a 5-year option with a fixed increase. It's about 6,000 square feet of building on 73,000 square feet of land. It's a great little coupon clipper. This is the tenant on this is Goodwill Big Bend Industries. They operate about 40 units in the Florida and Georgia area. This is just outside downtown Tallahassee, on a main road in a residential community. The store does well. We have gotten preliminary interest from the tenant to purchase the asset. Haven't gotten an offer from them yet. There is some flexibility on the price here, and this client will be looking to exchange. So we'd love to work with CCIM members to sell this one, and then hopefully find another single tenant net leased asset to trade them into.
Wow. Now, when you listen to Casey Conway speak on the 24th, thank goodness to CCIM, he's going to tell you why Florida is doing so well and why the population is going to continue to grow. and why an investment like this for your triple net buyers is a savvy move. So that'll sell. Congrats on that listing. What's the
Thank
next
you.
one?
On to the next one. Next one I've shown a couple times here. Unfortunately, we are in escrow and likely falling out on this one. This is the Ventura Connection Shopping Center at the main intersection of Ventura and DeSoto in Woodland Hills. Freeway adjacent. You have the back of the center butts the 101 freeway. You have freeway visible signage. There's an access easement to get in and out of our shopping center to the property to the east, which is the main Target store in the West Valley. We're looking at about a $1.1 million projected NOI for the year, aiming to be in the $22.5 million range, which would be about a 5 cap. That being said, Measure ULA is a considerable factor on this one. If you think about the numbers at a 5.5% transfer tax on roughly $22 million, you're looking at well over $1 million off the top in transfer tax. My clients will definitely discount the price, probably somewhere in the low 20s for someone who can move quickly and take this off their hands before March 31st. We are, depending on the pricing, the co-op fee will be 1.25%. There's a incentive to make a deal above 21 million. So if it'll be a little higher above 21 million. The slide is wrong. I think it'll be 1.5% above 21 million. If we end up going below that, it would be 1.25%. I've got, as a result of the deal that is likely going south, I have a brand new Alta survey. I have a clean phase 1 from the buyer, brand new as of a week or so ago, and an entire zoning analysis. The buyer on that deal was going to be a developer looking to reposition this asset for a commercial development. Residential developers, please stay away. We will not tie this up long term, and it's very unlikely that you'll get the entitlements you need to justify this purchase price. Commercial developers, if you have an anchor tenant or a single purpose tenant, possibly automotive. There's a lot of auto dealers up and down the boulevard. Porsche is building a brand new facility about a quarter of a mile to the east. That could be an option. It's a little over 2 acres of land. Every single tenant in the property, all leases have redevelopment clauses that allow you to cancel the lease with 6 months notice with a couple of exceptions. So it's a good covered land play, cash flow on day one. If you're looking for a commercial development, it's also a great cash flowing retail asset. The owner put in a couple $100,000 worth of paint and redoing the parking lots and a number of other, deferred maintenance items that they took care of in the last couple of years. So this thing is operating well. We're 94% occupied. We have 1 vacancy on the 2nd floor, and we've got a couple groups looking at that right now. So it could be delivered at 100% occupancy pretty soon.
Wow, those are some great listings. Let's go over this real quick, Greg. Can you do a hotel there?
You'd have to check, you'd have to look into zoning on that and entitlements on that. Again, my clients are really, really not interested in tying this thing up long term. They want
Sure.
someone who's going to buy it based on the current income stream and close quickly.
Okay.
Anything that requires any sort of entitlements as part of the deal would require a premium price. Particularly with ULA taking effect on April 1st. I do, as I said, I do have that zoning analysis. In all honesty, I got it a day and a half ago, and I haven't read through the whole thing yet to see exactly what the results were that they came up with. I can tell you that the commercial development that the developer was seeking on that project, they were very confident that they could push that through even without a zone change or anything like that. They hired one of the best land use consultants in the area, and I'm sure that he would be glad to stay on the project for somebody else who wanted to continue down a similar path.
Well, wonderful property. I know Stan Kroenke's been very active in LA. He owns the Rams, as you know. And those of you who have to be under a rock to not know that he's got a big project right around the corner from this. And everybody's going to have to drive by this site when they go to the games, and or not the, well, there will be games, but there's wonderful developments happening in his stuff. So anyways, great listing. Let's move on. Anybody with interest, all those great listings, you've got Greg's number there. And now
Thank you.
David Yashar. I mean, gosh, David is another very savvy investor, broker, and has got a nice listing to tell us about. Go ahead, David.
Good morning. Can everybody hear me?
Yes, we can hear you fine.
Okay, Jeff, thank you very much, first of all, for inviting me to this, because without you letting me know, I wasn't aware of it, and I really appreciate the opportunity, number one. Number two, with all those listings from Greg, I don't know, man, he's ready to retire. We are really happy to hear that. And I had an opportunity to work with Greg on one of the locations that I'm involved in, and he did a phenomenal job. Anyone for leasing, and sometimes it takes the opposite to, as they say, opposite to attract, but I won't get into that. All I can say is that I know Greg, I know Todd, and, you know, we've known each other for over 20 years. So great job, Greg. Keep up the good work and fantastic listings, man. Sell every one of them, and let's go out and celebrate. Anyway.
Thank you.
I'm here to present 3 properties. The first one is a development opportunity. And, you know, due to raise in interest rates and not one, you know, 7 of them, and, you know, the market changing, we have lowered the price on this opportunity a couple of times. This is located at 372 through 384 West Vernon Avenue, just as you can see on the picture to the right, on the middle, I'm sorry. Right off the 110 freeway. Phenomenal location. You know, can't ask for a better location than this. You have about just over 16,000 square feet. We are offering this for $2,950,000. All the details are in our package. I'm not going to take time because I know we're kind of short, and we're on, well, basically a minute or two for each presentation. But location. You can see the zoning, and there are multiple parcels here. You can do approximately 70, maybe up to 78 units. Please give myself, our team, Omid, a call, and we're glad to answer any questions. Again, 372 through 384 West Vernon Avenue in LA. Fantastic development site. By the way, I know you guys want to know the fee. I believe we have 2% on this side to the buy side, 2% to the buy side. Can we go on to the next property?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. The next opportunity is industrial property. And another one, another good location. You can see this one also off the 10 freeway. 1623 Compton Avenue, just as you can see downtown LA on the background on the bottom left picture, just east of downtown, heart of the soul of downtown LA. Industrial property, just over 10,000 square feet, about 10,500 square feet, sits on 20,500 square feet of land. There is a tenant in this property. They're on a month-to-month, and this would be geared for an owner-user or an investor with tenant or tenants in mind. We are at, that's a wrong price, by the way. I apologize. I don't know if that was on our side or your side. We're at $2,695,000. $2,695,000, not $2,950,000. And that obviously makes a big difference. Seller is very motivated, a repeat customer. We did a deal with him about 3 months ago, and this is the second one. Is looking to exchange 1623 Compton Avenue in LA, not in city of Compton, in city of LA, just east of downtown LA.
Great listings.
And last but not least, to save the best for last, as they say, shopping center, fully redone, remodeled. And they just, the ownership just finished it about a year and a half ago. This is La Mirada Promenade. As you can see to the right, all the yellow is the offering. We're got a Taco Bell right at the corner. We wrap around the Taco Bell. The shopping center is just shy of 18,000 square feet rentable, sits on about an acre of land. You have total of 13 shops. You have a Mexican restaurant on one end cap that's been there over 20 years, who is currently on a month-to-month at a slightly lower rent than what the market calls for that end cap space. We told the ownership, don't do anything, let the new buyer come in and negotiate, and that's your added value there. At the other end cap, you have a liquor store. Again, you got phenomenal tenant mix, and then you have a bar that is just in the middle of the center. And that bar is also on a month-to-month, and we've told the ownership, just leave those guys alone so they can, and the new buyer can come in and, negotiate and, do the terms as they please. This property, because of the remodel, just getting the other spaces obviously leased out. We have out of 13, 7 occupied, 6 that are vacant and is being worked on. We are listed at $4,195,000. That puts you just north of $200 a square foot. You're picking up a property fully remodeled, signalized corner shopping center below replacement costs. No question, no buts and ifs about it. To show the motivation, the seller also will offer below market seller financing with about 35% down. Interest rate, it's negotiable, but ranging between 5 and 7%, depending on the overall terms and conditions of the offer. We have all offer due date, which is going to be on the 27th of this month. The seller has a silent partner that wants, obviously his money, and the main partner already found the up leg. So not only we have a motivated seller, but negotiable. David, and once again,
I'm going to have to cut you short here because we are running out of time. And DJ, how many more slides do we have?
The next one will be your listing, Jeff.
Okay. All right, well, thank you very much. I appreciate the opportunity. Please feel free to give me a call, and you have my number. Thank you, sir. Bye-bye.
Thanks, David. DJ, is that the last slide? Mine?
Yes, this is the last.
Okay, I'm going to go over this briefly because we're negotiating a deal. But if you got a buyer that wants to do add value, actually, I apologize. I instructed you to put the wrong property on. That's sold. So I already spent the money, the commission. But let's go to the next slide. Okay, we're wrapping up now. We've got some wonderful foundation courses. As you know, the foundations course is a basic course, and we've got the 101 and the 102. The 101 in San Gabriel, I highly recommend you check that out or tell your friends that don't have their first class, get into that. And let's go on. We got the 102. Okay. And this is the big one right here. The big, do not miss this. This guy is amazing. Casey Conway. You want to know what the future looks like? Come listen to our economic outlook in concert with Crew LA, and Southern California chapter of CCIM is joining Crew and the Greater Los Angeles chapter to put this together in Long Beach. You can learn more about it. If you need to register, go to ccimla.com. I want to thank everybody for attending. Sorry for the mishap, but we're going back to in person. Now we are in person right here at 301 North Lake Avenue. So if you want to shake some hands, have a cup of coffee, and and network, don't miss it. So that's February 15th. We always do them the third Wednesday of the month at 9 a.m. Everybody go sell something today. And thanks again to our sponsors. We'll talk to you next time. Bye-bye. Okay, that's a wrap. Cut it.